Viking GG. Of course, OG did win that series. Ninja's Pajamas, they lost against Viking GG. So Transitive Property just says OG is going to walk away with the victory. But Dota can be a bit of a rock, paper, scissors sort of matchup, right?
Yeah, it definitely. Maybe it all depends on if NIP can get that mid tower early.
Yeah.
You know, that was the entire game plan for them in the 3 games that we saw them play yesterday. And
it's a very important part of OG's game plan as well.
Yes,
right?
it is.
So if what should come to play here is from 7 minutes to 15 minutes, they're going to 5-on-5 clash into each other over the mid towers.
It's going to look like a 3K pub, and it's going to feel like one. This will be fun. Look at this smoke. What a deep smoke. You don't see this often. NIP. What are you looking for here, boys?
I'm looking for that early first blood, pick up 2 bounties, get yourself in a nice position, both mentally and economically, for this laning phase against OG.
Okay, Seb sees Saberlight. You do have the combo. Earth Spirit Darkseer, pretty spooky.
I have to imagine it's also important for them to know what the laning phase setup is going to be here, right?
This is true. If you could... Well, let's see here, actually. I suppose you want the Darkseer probably versus the Lycan, because, you know, it's a melee hero. You know, ideally you would like the Tide versus the Lycan, because you can get the Wolves, but...
That would be the best matchup, right?
It's Tide mids. I think, you know, it's more than likely going to be an Ember mid, and, you know, whether it's an Ember or a Lycan mid, you're going to do fine against either of these heroes, because they both don't like physical damage.
And so then they managed to get the matchup. Okay, so they're swapping around. They're like, okay, what OG doesn't want, right, is the Wisp versus the Lycan? Is that what they don't want?
I suppose so. They do move the Wisp bot, but seeing the Enchantress down there chilling, we know that this is likely a lane swap from NIP as well.
I also kind of, you know, I wonder if, I've never seen the matchup of Phoenix versus Darkseer, and then obviously we have the supports into the mix as well, but your base damage on Phoenix is not the most amazing in the world. And I have to wonder if getting pressed under your tower all the time would be actually kind of bad for you.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. You do also have the argument, though, that Phoenix has, you know, some sort of escapes and ranged hero and magic damage to kill the wave, so maybe at like level 2, level 3 you can start nuking out the wave. Who knows? These are some very weird matchups. I mean, this is exactly what we expect seeing OG against basically anything.
Yep, that's true.
Like, look at this lane. Wisp, Oracle. Come on. What is this?
And they are going to be able to get the range hero against this double range matchup, but I have to think that it's still going to be difficult. Everybody wants to pressure Phoenix level 1 because, of course, he's going to go for Fire Spirits. And as soon as that's on cooldown, you just kind of run at him.
Ever since Phoenix, I mean, I say ever since, but it's been about a week. But since Phoenix has started to get played as more of a core position, we are definitely seeing that a lot more. Like, people are hard committing to pressuring at level 1. Before it was kind of like, oh, well, it's good to do it, but people won't necessarily like throw everything in the kitchen sink at the Phoenix. But now it's like you can tell everybody's making the call specifically. Like, this guy's useless at level 1. Like, let's go.
Yeah, and I think some of that has to come from them not pressuring the Phoenix enough, and then having all of a sudden a Phoenix core in your lane gets level 2 Fire Spirits, and you're like, oh Jesus, my lane is really difficult now.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like Morphling. Morphling's the same. Like, once he gets level 3, he becomes unkillable. Yeah. And Phoenix, you know, instead of becoming unkillable, just does a ton of damage.
Even a master falters.
And so you pressure before that point.
Forced to Icarus dive away. Meanwhile, the Lycan is matched up against the Darkseer in that top lane, where well, this is another interesting matchup. We'll talk about that. The fact that we've Ember Spirit versus Tidehunter. Tide, he's got Anchor Smash, physical damage, but at the same time, like, he can do damage to the Ember Spirit and reduce the damage coming out, physical damage, but he can't stop the Flame Guard.
Yeah, this is true. There's definitely potential for either hero to kill the other. You know, if Thompson does play a little aggressive, like we can see him at such low HP because he's taking a few tower shots, he could possibly throw and die, but it really goes both ways. God, this Oracle. This hero with infinite mana seems really good. I think this is actually a pretty sweet lane, especially when you get level 3 and you have the massive amount of damage from Oracle with
Yeah, that
infinity
second
mana.
level of Purifying Flames.
Oh yeah.
Just any simple like double nuke combo is gonna push somebody back, almost guaranteed.
It's like 300 damage. That's nuts.
But he has been, Saberlight has been given solo experience as the Earthshaker is primarily focusing on pulling and blocking with his Fissures. There's the Lycan versus Darkseer matchup where Lycan should be pretty good. He's got such a high amount of regen, plus his Wolves have that high amount of magic resistance as well, so it's not even like they can get burned out too much. It would take a long time for Ion Shell by itself to kill the Wolves.
Darkseer in the safe lane too is just a lot worse than Darkseer in the off lane because there's no wave to cut, you know? There's no neutral camps that you can realistically pull waves to, so you don't really have that option of just getting giga farmed if you don't necessarily want to lane. You basically have to win the lane, which he is. He's doing okay. I mean, 7 denies on Lycan, but level 1 Darkseer, not so good. Nice
Fissure. Two-man Fissure, and with the Enchant Totem hit as well. That's a lot of damage on a mid-one here, but fortunately, there was just a little bit of gap to be able to get away.
If that was a block off, that actually would have been really sick. That was blood.
I wonder how many bracers Thompson's going to get in this matchup. Because I have to imagine, like, he gets 1 or 2 bracers, he just dominates this. Misha staying alive with a healing salve thanks to some nice micro with that Centaur stun.
No roll up yet.
He's going to roll into him now, but bit too late to get the kill. I'm sure Soxa's just happy to be able to get a lot of damage in. Saberlight finally gets caught back over.
Okay.
Wow, he really did kill him. I was a bit surprised he was able to pull out that kind of damage, but it did cost him his life as he had to dive deep underneath the tier 1 tower.
So it does give your Darkseer the solo experience. I mean, you don't really need to be here as an Earth Spirit pressuring a Lycan, but you're giving Charlie on his core Lycan solo XP on a kill.
Yeah.
He basically just got a solo kill there, which a level 5 Lycan, not too spooky. Like, this hero's not supposed to get solo kills just yet. So a little bit worried about him popping off of, you know.
Yeah, an early level 6, he managed to pick up a kill. Maybe that turns into a tower, and all of a sudden you've got a Lycan with a very early Necro book, and this just snowball builds and builds and builds.
Yep, exactly. And, you know, Tidehunter is a counter to the Lycan, but a competent Lycan can move the Wolves and all the summons around the Tide and make sure to not get those anchor smash. Like, there are ways to play it. It's not impossible.
That is one of the funny things, though, about OG is we saw how they were in that previous series willing to hyper ball up. And I have no doubt they're probably going to be doing some of that in this game, just like everyone sitting around the Tidehunter as they push for objectives at some point.
See, I guess my question is, like, who gets the towers on OG, though? If they do ball up around the Tide, like, how can they really quickly take towers?
Did they get the block? They do. Nicely done.
Blocks into them.
Yeah, and thanks to the Morbid Mask, man, you live for so long. If you can get off one more, it'd be nice to see, but no.
Oh, is that did I see a haste rune bottom? Oh, no, I didn't, but man, what a nice rune. Arcane rune on Ember. Basically 100% uptime on most of your spells. Very cool.
Structures are fortified.
Top 2 CS on the board are the Tidehunter and the Darkseer. This is kind of expected just because this is what these heroes do. Both of them are traditionally offlaners, and they're both kind of like farming machines. We'll see if they're able to utilize that kind of heavy farm, though, to stop what Ninjas in Pajamas is going to be looking to do, which is probably moving around the map. Like an ult, first one of the game to go off and see if he can chase down Seb. Unfortunately, that Fissure doesn't block him in, but the Surge is going to wear out eventually here, and he is no doubt dead. And it's Charlie will chase him down. Turn that into a tier 1 tower, and you've got yourself a pretty successful shapeshift.
Oh, wow, they kept the catapult alive, too, throughout the entire time.
Yeah.
Must have been the Enchantress creep. Yeah, I took a range creep.
Soxa, he tried to pull that creep wave like you were pointing out yesterday, take it out of range of the tower so the tower can aggro onto the siege wagon.
Too many summons. Can't do it.
Too many summons. Too much stuff out there.
Yeah, we're back to the zoo meta.
God, no.
Good stuff, NIP. Thank you for ruining pubs.
Even a master fortress.
Not over yet. If they win,
Dire's courier has been killed.
Air with an Enchant Totem hit. Snipes out Thompson's courier, so... Looks like he already had the Vlad's completed, so... Wonder if that was on his way back.
I was about to say I really like this play from Era. Just cutting the wave, not having to deal with the Tidehunter, but
yeah,
you know, obviously in a little bit of trouble now. Ooh, nice little juke there.
They don't have the best cores to be able to sit in lane against the Tide, right?
No, they don't.
Era, he'll probably go down here. There's no way he can juke it out one more time, right? Don't think so. Thompson got a lot of heroes surrounding him right now in that mid lane, but that's the beautiful thing about Tidehunter. He can usually ignore quite a bit of it. Nisha does end up going down thanks to the help of No Tail with those heavy nukes. That is something. Enchantress, I always hate playing the matchup against Oracle because you put so much magic damage out there and you're such a frail creature to just raw nukes.
It's true. You need a couple of bracers. At the very least, a rain drop to deal with it.
Looks like Saberlight uses Supernova just recently. Saberlight goes back into Thompson here, takes a big swing for the anchor smash and dies to the Gush follow-up. They do manage to get the kill on the supports here, but it's costing them quite a bit. They really need the secondary kill on Saksa, but Supreme can't block it in. He's going to have to pursue underneath the tier 1, gets the kill. This is the downside of Tidehunter, as these mobile heroes just kind of chase around him. He can't really help out too much, and now he's going to be surrounded by everybody. Does manage to get off an anchor smash, and that'll help keep him alive, especially with relocate of mid one coming in. Trying to slow down Era. A Gush slows him down even further. He still has a Fissure, though. He's going to bait him in a bit to the tier 1 tower. Double chains from Supreme will keep them at bay.
Look at the timer, man. I love that the mid brawl has started. Like, I love this game, man. Oh, man.
I have to imagine, though, Ninjas in Pajamas, you're not necessarily going to take the same kind of run at mid-tower tactics, right? Because you can't run the Lycan into the mid lanes.
Well, well, that's true. There is the cooldown. But, you know, I was thinking, I was like, there's no way they're going to do it in another game. And then I hear this howling coming from off screen. Oh, he's coming. He's coming.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, Charlie's, he's always in the mid lane, 9 minutes in.
Once again, Era trying to bait a little bit deeper into the tier 1 tower. Saberlight shows himself from the trees and starts laying some damage out onto mid 1. The Supernova's going to burn a little bit more, but mid 1's so fast, he might just be able to duck away into the trees and survive. He's going to TP out. Supreme. Oh, looks like he had slide up just now, but it wasn't cast in time to be able to find TP out. Meanwhile, mid lane Thompson, who found himself with double damage, is gonna go for this tier 1 tower. He'll take the Supreme kill if he can get it, but he should have an assured tier 1 in his grasp here. One more swing.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
And this is going to be sort of the trade-off, right? Is that Lycan's going to be able to split push and take a lot of the side lane towers, but old Tidehunter, Rent, the immovable object, as he just presses forward into this mid lane, and they can do very little about him.
Right. Yep. Diving into the tier 2 as well. He does not care.
No. It's like a timber saw, you know, where you've got this peak of strength, and you want the enemy to try and fight you.
If they can kill this catapult, though, I think they're perfectly fine here without the DD.
Nice block in there on No Tail, and it looks like OG
almost got it off.
A little bit too far for themselves. That's in part because they were fighting a bottom lane where Saberlight did die to mid 1. They were probably thinking to themselves, well, we've got relocate to pull people into the mid lane, but they were busy. Busy getting a more important kill on Core Phoenix.
Although, you know, I would argue that the mid lane, at least stopping that pressure, like killing that catapult is really important, because this is a big spike for Tidehunter. I think, okay, Supreme. Thompson?
They're going to try a little bit. The chains instantly dispelled by the maxed out Crackshell here. Now, he is going to be able to get the Fissure block in, but the Ravage is up, as you said. He chooses an anchor smash instead. The Surge allows him to get away. That'll help solve some of the mobility problems for a Tidehunter. Saksa, though, his mobility is canceled by Charlie. Now the Ravage going up, but he outruns the Tentacles, and the Necronomicons will eventually kill him. And Thompson, having killed that melee Necronomicon, actually just gets bursted down. The Echo Slam is there to finish the deal, and Ninjas in Pajamas can now take tier 1 mid of their own, perhaps.
Yeah, these are huge kills. I mean, especially the Tidehunter. I think there's zero way that you ever lose the mid tower as long as the Tidehunter is alive, and I'm surprised even without Egg, they're able to make that play. I mean, during this whole time, mid 1 is farming, but we have talked about this issue of Tidehunter is the hero that you're going to be pairing with in the mid game, and you know, that's not a typical combo for Io. We'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, normally you can just kind of like walk around a Tidehunter, right? But this Surge Tidehunter,
this is true.
He's gonna get it, like he's running the same movement speed as this Lycan.
Does sound interesting, and you know, when you get 25 talent on Io, you know, technically speaking, I think that applies an auto attack to everything that Yank smashes.
Yes, it does.
So that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a melee gyrocopter in that regard.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I mean, you're talking about level 25 synergies. You get level 25 on Tidehunter.
Oh, yeah.
He's got himself a Divine Rapier.
Lots of damage. I mean, if we get to that timing, it's going to be huge. In 50 minutes from now.
Yeah. In the meantime, though, the game may not even stretch out that far as these teams just kind of clash. I always have the imagery, you know, of like when you're a 6-year-old kid and you've got your action figures and you are fighting against them, you're just mashing them together. Yeah, that's what Dota is sometimes in these sort of matchups, where you just kind of run heroes into each other over and over again and see which one breaks first.
This is true. So the mid lane battle has ended. I think we're going to see a little bit less of that.
Sure.
Let's see. I think Roshan is the next place that we want to slam our action figures together at.
Yeah.
That is 100% the objective here.
Yeah, because both teams have
like
decent ways, right? Yeah. It's like Lycan Tidehunter. Tidehunter's going to be going for a Desolator as well, so additional weakness armor, and Lycan's just incredible at taking it by itself.
Right. Almost this is AC. Well, actually not almost, but going for that next. Has his full Necro completed, Necro 3.
A tool to teach.
Man. This IO build is very annoying to deal with. It's the new stats from Dominator. It's a difficult timing to kill IO, especially with the new overcharge. And then you pick up the Heaven's Halberd. I mean, good lord, that
trying to kill him is so hard.
It's very hard.
He's incredibly tanky.
Yes, very fast as well.
Yeah, as you could see from him running down Era. A smoke to the bottom lane, though. Looks like they want to try and catch this IO. I feel like every single time I see, like, Era's the one positioning himself forward, and his team rotates to him. He's always kind of the bait for these situations. They don't actually try and take that bounty rune area, though. Very surprising.
You see the spirits, and it's like, okay, that's a wisp. Abort.
Well, they already knew the wisp was bottom, and they smoked that direction in the first place. So I'm kind of curious, like, what stopped them there?
Maybe you want to get the Oracle, maybe you want to get like the Earth Spirit, like something that's like bodying in front for the Wisp, or just maybe a better angle at the Wisp. Because I feel like a lot of the time you run into this hero smoked, and then the creep just sees you, and Wisp just runs off.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a big gank.
Oh, the Icarus dive goes out. Yotale immediately pops ultimate, removing the Fissure disable and allowing the IO to walk free. And Ninjas of Pajamas, well, they didn't really blow that much for it, right? They didn't use Supernova. They didn't pop Shapeshift. So I feel like in a way, they kind of knew the possibility that Oracle was behind him, and this was going to be kind of a fruitless attempt.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Oracle ulti is such a long cooldown at level 1. I think it's absolutely a play to just bait it and then go smoke afterwards. And I think that's exactly why mid 1 is just running into his own jungle now. It's like, okay, I don't have the Oracle ult, so taking over their jungle, while it is more efficient, it's just very dangerous now. Oh, maybe they're gonna go Roche, or kind of chilling around the area.
You know, it's funny, like both teams are really good at taking Roche, and both teams are incredibly good at defending Roshan too, right?
This is true.
You've got Earthshaker, Phoenix, incredible team fight around Roshan Pit. And then OG, well, they've got Tidehunter, and then they've got, you know, the ever classic Vacuum Wall.
Darkseer.
Like, these are just some of the most iconic Roshan defenders in the game. Desolator now up 4 tops, and big damage increase now. If he can get a gush into an anchor smash, that's going to knock some heroes down to half health.
Man, if they could get a lucky stun on Supreme, he could very quickly die here in this mid lane. But it's just the Earth Spirit or Ravage. Those are very difficult to hit on an Ember Spirit.
See how quickly Supreme reacts to these situations here. As he's broken some of the smoke. Thompson given the surge to wrap around to the side here.
Love this positioning from NIP. They're not backing off into their own area. They're maintaining their position on this dire high ground here.
All except Saberlight here, who's a little bit away from his team, still occupying that triangle. But that's because he's a Phoenix. He's got enough ability to do so.
Yeah, I think if you're OG, you're totally happy with this. Even though you don't get a kill, you make your way into the enemy triangle, get some wards down.
I think with Saberlight a little bit too far away, They've got
top
to
tower
just full out retreat from this area. I'm surprised they're still here, man. Fortunately, Charlie, Arrow was in position to be able to break that smoke and even got hit by the stun from Saxo. So Charlie was able to get off his ultimate and get away. But still, that's a shapeshift down. And OG, you know they're going to make something happen with this. And if they'd gotten a double damage, it would have been the easiest Roshan ever. Since they didn't, and it was given to an Ember Spirit, this is going to be significantly more difficult. And that's why OG, they're not going to let Ninjas the Pajamas just walk into the pit. They're going to try and take the fight straight to Nip. They're going to be able to catch Misha to start this fight, but it's just supports for now. Sableye, he'd be a big kill, but he doesn't even get to pop the Supernova in time. Supreme jumps away to his remnants, but OG just keeps on trucking. The extra movements on Popson, whether it's from the tether or the surge, is allowing him to always kind of keep a threat on this Ember.
You know, I'm kind of liking this this meta that OG is crafting here. This is... I've just never seen anything like it. I mean, we've seen the carry wisp, obviously, with TI, but, you know, this tied mid, Darkseer surging with the extra move speed, and
of heals and magic immunity that pushes them back. They finally had to go for No-Tail now, but then eventually they just run out of damage. The 4-man of OG remains strong, even just outside of your fountains. Pull the back in, pull out of the fountain, get back here. We want to have a fight a little bit longer before we finish up this bottom lane.
I'm just speechless. I feel like you have this is really making me feel like Darkseer is not an okay hero.
GG, man.
Like, they are really using this Darkseer to its fullest potential. This strategy is not okay.
Combination.
Like, the Darkseer surging 2 people, one of which is unkillable. I mean, 2 of which, both of them were.
Yeah. Winnie has